Take a deep breath. And let's actually start from the other end. Let's, Leland, why don't you go first and give your 2-minute wrap up, and we'll work our way back down this way.
Well, thank you very much for this opportunity. I really appreciate all the questions. I appreciate all my fellow candidates being here. It is not easy to run for mayor. You have to go through all the trials and tribulations of different communities, asking for this and asking for that. But I would just simply urge and implore you to really look at all the different candidates and ask questions about how we are different. And I will tell you how I'm going to be different. You know, I'm going to be a mayor that is not going to allow power brokers to come into City Hall. I'm not going to wine and dine them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kick them out. Because City Hall is a place for the people. It is those individuals that we need to constantly worry about. You know, I'm not going to be one who is going to give top executives these golden parachutes, these extraordinary salaries. I've fought that at the UC. I've fought that at the CSU. And by golly, we've got to change the attitude and priorities of City and Town of San Francisco. And then while we are talking about having to deal with working class people, the out-migrations, and trying to give people a way to stay in San Francisco, you know, I'm not going to contract out. I'm not going to, within my budget, throw people under the bus and say, well, I'm sorry, in order for me to balance this budget, your job is going to be gone. That is not the way that I'm going to lead the city. We're all in this together. We've got to somehow work together, and every single individual in the city and town of San Francisco is important to me. Contracting out, making sure that City Hall is our place, and most importantly, making sure that people are not going to get these golden parachute at the expense of everyone else. Those are going to be the differences. Those are going to be the priority. Those are going to be what I will stand for and what I will do in City Hall.
I'm going to take a risk and start out and express my disappointment about the level and what we've been able to discuss tonight. This is an aspirational panel of people here. There are 3 Chinese American candidates, 4 that are seeking to become the first elected Chinese American mayor in this city's history. There are 2 women on this panel that are seeking to become only the 2nd woman mayor. There are 2 Latino candidates that are seeking to become the first modern era Latino mayor in San Francisco. Michela will be the first mayor with a disability in a wheelchair to serve, and that matters in this town. And guess what? I would be only the 3rd Jew and the 1st gay to be mayor of this city. And so we're here in an aspirational audience of an LGBT Democratic club and young people. And I can't believe that we have not talked about the dearth of nightlife and how we're making nightlife bad in San Francisco. I am frustrated that a year ago at Pink Saturday, a young black man, Stephen Powell, was shot, and I went to his funeral and I saw the anger in that room. And I realized that gay people in my neighborhood were afraid because they'd never seen the violence that people have found to be endemic in San Francisco. And I am so frustrated. And we should be talking about the fact that it's Black Business Month. And who here has a good record of hiring black people? And who here has supported black business being established? So I will tell you, God bless, most of you here are committed to somebody. And that is good. But somebody better start talking about the issues and stop trying to throw shade on these other people running for mayor, because it doesn't serve anybody's interest.
Every time that much for being here tonight. It is always a real distinct honor and pleasure to come into all sorts of different parts of San Francisco. It is probably what makes running for mayor the most honorable and humbling experience thus far of my life. And so thank you all very much for giving us the honor of sitting here and listening to us throughout the last 2.5 hours. I think my frustration was really more because I like to talk about jobs. And I heard the conversations and the questions that came, and I sat there and I thought, Sunnydale, let's start talking about some jobs. Bayview, let's talk about jobs. Every part of San Francisco, every problem we have, from education to police to everything, we need to talk about jobs. And so what I want to tell you first is that it was a priority of mine as a member of the Board of Supervisors. The very first thing I did was craft an economic plan for San Francisco. Now that sounds really boring, I get it. But when you look at this thing, it is beautiful in that it tells us what industries are potential growth industries for us. It shows us where in the city we can put certain things. It gives us an idea of how we can start building San Francisco up, creating jobs and what types of jobs they should be. I passed a biotech payroll tax exemption, not because necessarily it's all about biotech, but when you build a biotech company or building, they have 14-foot ceilings, they have giant crawl spaces, they have piping, they're carpentry, they are huge, massive buildings. That tax exemption created building trade jobs. It created entry-level positions for kids who wanted them. For every one PhD position, we created 6. It brought children into an environment that they needed and that they liked. It also educated them because we did it in conjunction with the school district, and we set up those programs in our high schools and in City College. I could talk about this until I am blue in the face, but what I really want to impress upon you is that, in my opinion, it is the single most important issue facing our city, and it will be my single most important priority. Thank you all very, very much for being here today.
I, of course, want to start also by thanking our San Francisco Young Dems, Alice, San Francisco Democratic Club, all of you, and all the folks on the 3rd floor who can't see what we're talking about right now. Thank you guys for being here. To echo a little bit of what I think we have not talked about today, when I worked as a civil rights attorney, which was the job that actually brought me to this city, I came because this city was an ideal of how all of us that represent the tremendous diversity of humanity can come together. And I saw that in pockets of San Francisco, that has not always been the case. When I worked in the San Francisco DA's office, I saw too often, every single day, we have communities of color, communities based on a lack of economics, who are victimized violently by crime. When I served on the Small Business Commission, I saw that, again, we had so many communities that have been left out of the tide that has been lifting an awful lot of boats here in San Francisco. And from my perspective, one of the biggest challenges facing us as a city is that we are changing. We have lost thousands of families over the past decade. We have lost thousands of tenants who've been evicted, homeowners who have been foreclosed upon. We have lost almost half of our African American population. And that is not right. We have to figure out how to come together. From my perspective, I think our city, we are at our greatest when we come together for marriage equality, for being the first city in the country to stand up for universal health care, for being on the forefront of the environment. We ought to, though, be the first in the country when it comes to building a 21st century economy for everyone. A 21st century world-class transportation for everyone. 21st century schools for everyone. And I hope whoever you support here, and I would ask and hope for your vote, we will get this done together. Thank you very much for being here.
First, I want to thank Alice and the YDs and the City Dems for giving all of us the opportunity to speak with you tonight about what's at stake in this election. And I know that we probably all echo the same sentiment that we all are tremendously grateful to the opportunities that San Francisco has given us. I know when I moved here 25 years ago and I didn't know virtually anybody. Who would have thought that 25 years later I'd be sitting before you as a candidate for mayor? And I know that's something that that echoes a sentiment that all of us feel. So we feel tremendously grateful. But politics and government aren't easy. Not easy for us as candidates, not easy for you as participants. But the fact of the matter is that you are all here because you care. People care about their mayor's races. They want government to make a difference in their lives each and every day. And in an era of increasing cynicism, sometimes that's really, really tough. We know there are a lot of young people here tonight. And maybe they got their first dose of politics getting involved in the Obama campaign in 2008. And they may be frustrated. They may be cynical. But I'm here to tell you, and I think everybody here would tell you, is don't be cynical. You can make a difference in people's lives each and every day. You can use the power of government to expand economic opportunity and to demonstrate that government can respond to the challenges that we all face. But we're going to have to do it together at the local level, as a government, as leaders, and as a community. Because as federal and state governments shift more and more responsibilities off their balance sheet, we are going to have to figure out how to do it for ourselves. So I hope that you look at us through a broad prism. Does whoever you elect have the vision to ensure that San Francisco can be a model for what a 21st century American city needs to be? And does the candidate have a track record of accomplishment that they can demonstrate they know how to get things done? And as your city attorney on issues large and small, marriage equality, choice, gender rating, closing down the Moran Power Plant, I think I've demonstrated I have that vision and I have that ability to work with everybody up here to make sure that San Francisco's best days are ahead of it. Thanks so much.